So I started my career about almost 14 years ago. I got my license in January of 2011 after completing a program through Hamburg College. And then I have been an immigration consultant full-time. I had the honor of starting teaching at Ashton College since 2016. Of course, my other education, I hold a master's degree in psychology from Yorkville University and another master's degree in law from Osgood Hall Law School. And I have tried to enhance my understanding of the word, for example, by attending a course from Cambridge University in the field of diversity and inclusion. And in terms of my career, I have dealt with clients from more than 60 countries over the years. And I have represented them in their permanent resident applications, temporary resident applications, and immigration refugee board hearings. When I came to Canada, I was hired as a technical writer. My job was writing. But as part of being a writer, I started a blog about Canada, and I started talking about my experience as a new Canadian and different places in Canada. And people started asking lots of questions about immigration to Canada. And that was the main reason that I started this profession, because at one point I thought that if I'm doing this, I need to be able to also help people to immigrate to Canada. And for that, I need a license. So I took the courses, I got the license, and I started helping people as a professional rather than just a person who publishes posts about immigration. What I really like about this business is the significant impact that it has on our country and our people. I mean, think about that. Nowadays, pretty much every single day, every media outlet is talking about my profession. They're talking about good, bad, and ugly about immigration to Canada. But at the end of the day, it shows that how much our profession and what we are doing affects our country and people. One specific thing that I did was for a person who was imprisoned by the government of Iran. And he was actually initially was going to be executed by them, but then later they made it a life prison. And then he managed to escape from that prison, and he came to Canada, and I helped him to become a Canadian citizen. I did it pro bono, but it was an extraordinary achievement for me because the application we submitted was under Section 5 sub 4 of the Citizenship Act, which rarely is applied by the minister, but in that case it was successful. And I felt so liberated to see that I managed to help somebody who was just a few years ago facing death penalty. So the ability to analyze a problem and then making connections between this potential solutions or bits and pieces of information that if we manage to connect them, then it creates a solution is key to a successful immigration career. Obviously, as an immigration consultant or immigration lawyer, we need to be extremely informed about what's going on under the immigration law, the decisions made by the courts, etc. But that's not it. These are just raw material in front of us. Now we need to be able to navigate through these raw material and try to connect the dots to find the best solution for our clients. And that's something that every single practitioner needs to work on to be able to do it. Now, it could be through the help that they receive from a mentor. It could be through reading lots of court cases or attending CPD seminars and training sessions. But at the end of the day, this is a quality that makes you distinct from the rest of practitioners. Probably I would have taken my Master of Laws sooner because it gave me a better understanding of the legal structure of Canada beyond immigration. And that helped me to have a better understanding of how our legal system works, and especially in my interactions with Immigration Refugee Board, it helped me a lot. And even with the interactions with the enforcement agencies and the immigration agencies. Nowadays, unfortunately, IRCC rarely interacts with people, so you don't see an actual officer interviewing people, talking to you as a representative. It happens, but rarely. But when it comes to enforcement, from the day that you try to enter Canada and you meet a border services officer to the day that they are going to remove a person from Canada, these are all human interactions, and they are so near and dear to me. And that's why I like enforcement the most. I have the most respect for CBSA officers, and every time I learn from them, and that's the area that I really love. And I always constantly study this area. I have done it since I was a student in 2009, 2010. And since I started my practice, I always studied enforcement. That's the area that I love the most. Even when a person is being removed from Canada, just think about how scary that experience is. As an immigration consultant, I can be part of that rough and tough journey. But when I facilitate it, then it becomes as smooth as possible for them. And that's a huge reward for me to at least make it a little bit less scary for that person to go through that process. Now, if you find a way to keep them in Canada and fight back, that's I think the icing on the cake, if you will. But even if we do not succeed, we can make it easier for them to go through that process. I actually have formed a group, and with that group, we are going through the enforcement processes together. And my hope is that this group becomes professionals in the field of enforcement down the road. We have this is like a focus study group that we work together to have a better understanding of the enforcement process. What is happening, I think, is a political move. I wish the government had not issued so many work permits and study permits and visitor visas to people to create this chaos. But I don't think the way that they are handling it right now is the best or most effective way. We have right now an accumulation of 3 million non-permanent residents in Canada. And by reducing the temporary resident issuance of the temporary resident documents, we are actually creating a situation in which many people will decide to remain in Canada as undocumented migrants, or many of them will decide to cross the border irregularly to the United States to file refugee claims over there or stay there as undocumented migrants. And that will create tension between us and our US cousins. And also at the same time, it will also create chaos in Canada. So I think the decisions by the government is too abrupt to be very successful, but maybe I'm wrong. We have to wait a few more years and then we can judge whether those decisions were correct or not. Study very hard, take this seriously. Immigration to Canada is a complicated process. If you look at CanLE, for example, since the inception of IRPA, which is 2001, we have more than 75,000 court cases under CanLE alone. And these are the published cases because many of the refugee cases, they never publish. We have many settlements that happen at the federal court level and immigration appeal division level that they never get published because they are private settlements. So if you think about it, this means that this business is a very complicated business. Thousands of immigration cases every single year reflects the complexity of this practice. So you need to study very, very hard. And you also need to remember that you are running a business. And by running a business, customer service, caring about your clients, due diligence, Those are the things that you need to learn to ensure that you are running an ethical, successful practice.